Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the US-Australia alliance is entering a new era in the face of a rising China, declaring the time is right for both nations to step up joint efforts to meet security challenges posed by Beijing's attempts to extend its influence in the Pacific. Drawing parallels with joint US-Australian efforts to push back against the Soviet Union in the Pacific during the Cold War, Mr. Pompeo said a determined effort was required to band together on China.
Cover up! High five!
The time is right because the challenge China presents to us in the region is upon us, whether that is the militarization of the South China Sea or their Belt and Road Initiative, Mr. Pompeo told the Australian. Pompeo foreshadowed an enhanced relationship between Washington and Canberra, as he signaled it was time for Australia to step up its Pacific role as a nation that was leaving its rank as a middle power and becoming a key player in the region. He said no decision had been made on the US's planned location of mid-range missiles in Asia, but he did not rule out the possibility they could be placed in northern Australia, in addition to existing US military bases on Australia soil and the deployment of 2,500 US Marines in Darwin. It is, of course, the case that when we employ these systems around the world with our friends and allies, we do so with their consent and mutual benefit, Mike Pompeo said. Putting US missiles on Australian soil would most likely spark considerable local debate about the risk of inflaming tensions with China, and of Australia becoming a more obvious military target for Beijing in the event of a confrontation with the United States. The rise of China was ushering in a new era in the century-old US-Australia alliance, but he said both countries had jointly met such major challenges in the past. The US was a Pacific nation, and it was here to stay. I want Australians to know they can always rely on the United States of America, Pompeo said. Mr. Esper also yesterday signaled a tougher stand on China with help from Australia, saying in comments directed at Beijing that no one nation can or should dominate the Indo-Pacific. We also stand firmly against a disturbing pattern of aggressive behavior, destabilizing behavior from China, he said. He accused China of using predatory economics and debt to reach savage deals with Pacific Island and other nations, and blasted Beijing for state-sponsored theft of other nations' intellectual property. The US will not stand by idly while any one nation attempts to reshape the region to its favor at the expense of others, Mr. Esper said. Mike Pompeo said both countries needed to ensure the rules that the world has used for 100+ years now, democratic institutions that have done so much good for the people of the US and the people of Australia, will be the world that governs trading systems and security systems for the decades to come. Pompeo urged Australia not to fear economic retribution from Beijing merely because Canberra supported fair trade and respect for sovereignty. Australia has made enormous progress. It is now a big country with important economic relationships all across the world, he said. It continues to increase day by day and year by year, and as a result of that, the expectations that the world places upon it increase as well, and rightly so. Thank you.